Tavis Smiley following sexual misconduct investigation. PBS has suspended late-night talk show Tavis Smiley amid misconduct allegations against its host and namesake. Effective today, PBS has indefinitely suspended distribution of Tavis Smiley, produced by TS Media and an independent production company. The public broadcaster said PBS engaged an outside law firm to conduct an investigation immediately after learning of troubling allegations regarding Mr. Smiley. This investigation included interviews with witnesses as well as Mr. Smiley. The inquiry uncovered multiple credible allegations of conduct that is inconsistent with the values and standards of PBS. The totality of this information led to today's decision. Sources close to the production told Variety that PBS hired attorney Sarah Taylor Wirtz of the firm MSK to oversee an investigation into Smiley's behavior after receiving allegations of misconduct by Smiley, who hosts and produces the show. Wirtz declined Variety's request for comment. According to sources, MSK took reports from 10 witnesses, a mix of men and women of different races and employment levels in Smiley's organization, most of them former staffers. Here we go with former staffers. Representatives for Mr. Smiley did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The investigation found credible allegations that Smiley had engaged in sexual relationships with multiple subordinates, sources said. Some witnesses interviewed expressed concern that their employment status was linked to the status of a sexual relationship with Smiley. In general, witnesses described Smiley as creating a verbally abusive and threatening environment that went beyond what could be expected in a typical high-pressure work environment. Several expressed concerns about retaliation. Smiley has hosted Tavis Smiley, a half-hour interview program that airs weeknights on PBS member stations since it premiered in 2004. Produced by Smiley's TS Media Incorporated, the show is filmed in Los Angeles and airs on WNET New York, KOCE Southern California, WTTW Chicago, WHYY Philadelphia, and other public television stations nationwide. PBS distributes the series but does not employ Smiley or any of its staff. The show, which is underwritten by sponsors such as Walmart, has received 4 NAACP Image Awards. Smiley's radio program, The Tavis Smiley Show, was distributed by Public Radio International from 2005 to 2013. He originally came to prominence in the mid-1990s as the host of BET Tonight, an evening public affairs program on the African-American-oriented cable channel. In a February piece in The Observer, Jacques Hezegai, a former producer on Smiley's television show, wrote that Smiley's misogyny is always creeping around, barely camouflaged by Midwestern good manners. Hezegai described Smiley picking up a woman at the Orlando airport and bringing her along on a reporting trip as a fuck buddy. Allegedly that Smiley had a romantic relationship with another producer, and quoted Smiley denigrating PBS executives. Smiley currently has a development deal with Warner Brothers Television. Among the projects in the works under that deal is an adaptation of Smiley's book, Before You Judge Me, The Triumph and Tragedy of Michael Jackson's Last Days, about the pop singer, with J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot. The decision to halt Smiley's program comes just weeks after the public broadcaster made a similar move to end Charlie Rose's interview show following claims of sexual harassment levied against the host. That is from Variety. Yeah, all the generals ain't white. All the generals ain't white. All this stuff sounds like normal bosses' behavior. Every time I hear misogyny, I get suspicious. Anytime they start talking to ex-staffers, I get suspicious. Now, are these staffers ones that got fired? Are these ones that quit? Do these staffers have a bone to pick? Now, if the dude owns a production company and he brings in his fuck buddy to actually go in and actually tag along with a reporting crew, then I don't see anything wrong with it. Bosses have relationships with staffers and producers and whatnot all the time. You know, it's been eloping with the secretary for 100 years. Now, all of a sudden, that is sexual harassment. They never said he harassed anybody or sexually harassed anybody, because he had sex in his company with people he chose. But it is what it is. It wasn't like he was an employee for PBS. It wasn't like he wasn't doing good work. I haven't heard any of the accusations that they say were leveled against him. They haven't made it public. But now you don't even have to make the accusations public. All you need is an accusation. So any old chick in any realm can actually make an accusation. It doesn't even have to be people that you work with. If you dated somebody and when some woman said you slipped her a Mickey, or a couple of women said that you slipped them a Mickey, even if they can't prove it, that's enough. It doesn't. People think it's you being on a job. Now, for most guys, it probably would be. But some chick says you slipped her a Mickey and you had sex with her and accuses you of rape, and officers come down to your job to get your DNA, most likely you're going to get let go. It is what it is. This Me Too stuff is going to go, it's going to burn itself out, but it's going to do a lot of damage before it burns itself out. Now, one quick thing about a war, because I know this is going to come back. When they say winning a gender war, I'm going to say this real quick. Wars have an objective. Wars have an objective. Now, the objective for feminists and women, period, is to have subordinate men. Literally have subordinate men. Have subordinate husbands. Have subordinate underlings at a job. That kind of thing. To where you're working with men. What this is going to foster is a separation between men and women. They could have had a separation from the beginning. What it means is that women have to start making and producing their own companies, because now nobody will want to work with them. Most of the people that produce in this country are men, not women. Women play a subordinate role, a support role. People that play support roles cannot lead. Now, you destroy Tavis Smiley's company or production company where he can't hire people and do business. What is that going to do for all the people that have to work for him? Men and women. And if he does survive, how many women is he actually going to start hiring or putting on his staff? And then what is that going to say for every other production company? It's not going to help the relationship with men and women, or even put women in a superior position, because at the end of the day, you still have to rule over whatever you have and not destroy it. If Me Too follows its inevitable end, it's more like a nuclear blast than it is a win. Nobody wins a nuclear war. Now, I fully expect women to win this battle temporarily. And they probably will get seats in 2018, which is probably what they're actually pushing for, is to get more seats. If they don't take advantage of them, if they don't take advantage of this, if women can't get elected in this environment, then women can't get elected. So at this point, they have a window of opportunity to prove themselves. They're going to have a window of opportunity to have all girl staffs and prove themselves. We'll see what's going to happen, especially in 2018 when the cuts will happen. And for all the guys out there, SYSBM to the 10th power, protect your neck, go MGTOW monk if you have to, because this stuff is going to spread like wildfire until it burns itself out. It is what it is. Like I say, they're shooting the generals right now. So if they're shooting the generals, the underlings don't have much of a chance. So be very, very careful out there, especially if you work in a public environment. With that, I'm going to jump off of here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you on the next one.